One of the biggest challenges that we're finding as we live in this house we're flipping is keeping spaces clean while we're working on projects. Even if you aren't flipping a house, I'm sure everybody's run into this scenario before. You find this awesome dresser at the local home store or on Facebook Marketplace for next to nothing, and it's going to be the perfect piece to your bedroom. But it's not the right color, so you want to refinish it. Here's the problem. It's 20 degrees outside and the dresser is already on the 3rd floor of your house. Do you really want to break out your sander and create 4 inches of dust on everything in your room? Even if you put drop cloths down on everything in here, it's all going to get dusty. So today, Lauren and I are going to refinish this dresser, and we're not going to touch it with a sanding block. We're going to use a deglosser. Now, if you've never used a deglosser before, there's 2 different versions of this, a deglosser and a liquid sandpaper. They're one and the same. They're identical. There's no difference between them. Today, we're going to use this Jasco brand. We got it at Home Depot. It was, I don't know, what was it, $10, something like that for a 32-ounce bottle right here, which will last you a long time. This is not a substitution for getting this smooth with sandpaper. This is not going to smooth out any imperfections in your wood. This is mainly to prep your surface for painting. It's going to open the pores. As long as you're following the directions to a T on the back of here, you'll be fine. Just make sure. Some products say apply a second coat. Some products say let sit for 20 minutes. Follow the instructions as they're listed on the back and you'll have no problems here. So what this is perfect for is a dresser that is in fantastic condition.
In the first part of the process of refinishing a dresser with the liquid sandpaper, I always take off all of the hardware first. Okay, this specific sander deglosser by Jasco I've used in the past many times, and I always like to do 2 coats of the liquid sandpaper, and that's usually more than enough. You're going to shake up your deglosser and you're going to use it at full strength. This is not a product that gets diluted. And then you're going to put it on a lint-free cloth. Any old rag will do. And the key to this product working, in my experience, is to do as the directions say, and you're going to saturate the cloth, and then you're going to make circular motions on the dresser. And I'm not sure the magic of these circular motions, but I have tried it both ways, and it does make a difference. So make sure you're using those circular motions. Bring out your wax on, wax off Miyagi. Okay, so at times with this product, you will know it's working because you will see that the surface is not as slick or shiny as it was before you used it. However, in my experience, the presence of shininess doesn't mean that it's not working. So depending on the finish, the product will still work and the dresser may remain shiny or have sheen, and still the product has done its job by opening the pore up properly.
All right, I know this is going to be a really weird analogy, but if your item feels like you just washed it in Kool-Aid or something sticky, you're doing the right thing. The pores are opening up and the product is working. We put a second coat on, you might not have to. If this is super tacky right now, let it dry. Then, once it had enough time to dry, put your primer on. Lauren's going to get more into that right now.
I want you to hear that part because it's extremely important. You never want to refinish a wood product if there is any moisture on it. If you lock that moisture in, you are asking for it to peel and crack and just be messed up very early on. You always want your wood product to be completely dry. A deglosser alone or a high quality primer alone is not going to create the finish that you are looking for to mimic a sanded surface. However, I have found the double whammy of magic. If you use a deglosser plus the Kills adhesion, I have found, dare I say, something that mimics a sanded surface. It has been a rock solid finish in my experience on several products I've used, have held up beautifully, and I'm talking years that I've seen them hold up rock solid. So I stand by this like double whammy of awesome here. It works on IKEA furniture, on laminate, on poly, on anything, and I've never had an issue with it creating a solid finish when I'm done. Don't be an amateur and lift this heavy dresser up and put the drop cloth underneath. Just go ahead and get some cheap paper plates from the dollar store and get them underneath of the feet. That way you're not getting the paint on the floor. After you put the plates under the feet, you can go ahead and start priming. You may require 1 or 2 coats of primer depending on the color you plan on painting your dresser. But in my experience, the adhesion line will work well with 1 coat. You don't need 2. The beauty of using the liquid sandpaper plus the adhesion is that now you may use whatever paint you have your heart set on. So now that you've created this ultra what am I trying to say? Okay, redo. So the beauty of using this double whammy, the liquid deglosser with the adhesion, is that now you may use whatever paint you want. However, I would not recommend using a flat, non-scrubbable paint on any dresser, regardless of how good you've sanded or used liquid sandpaper. It's just never a great fit to use a flat without a sealer on top. I love using a bare satin scrubbable finish. It's a wall paint, but I've used it on furniture and it has lasted me for a really long time. Their scrubbable line really is that. It's scrubbable, and I've never had an issue using a magic eraser on it or any other things such as that. So I think that's probably what we'll end up using on this. And once we're done, we can show you how durable the finish really is.
In case you guys are wondering how durable this primer really is on top of the deglosser, the only thing I could find laying around was the nail clippers, and obviously you wouldn't do this, but just to prove a point here, this finish right here is super tough. I can try with my fingernail, I can try with this. It's leaving a little bit of a gray area from the metal, but it's not digging into that paint at all. You can see right there, it's not messing with the finish. That is going to hold a final coat of paint really well. So if you guys are in doubt, that right there should make you a believer.